Kraven the Hunter, Spider-Man, Deadpool. So this is a Kraven comic book without Spider-Man. Wow, where to start? So many things. Kraven the Hunter stars Aaron Taylor Johnson, Fred Heisinger, Oscar winner Russell Crowe, Christopher Abbott, Oscar Award winner Ariana DeBose, and is directed by J.C. Chandor, director of A Most Violent Year and All Is Lost. Okay, we're off to a pretty great start. A lot of great things, great cast, great director. It's written by guys who wrote the Equalizer movies and Iron Man and Transformers The Last Night and that MIB sequel, Uncharted. The film starts with the two brothers, Sergei Kravinoff and Dmitry Kravinoff, being picked up from school by their abusive mob boss father, Nikolai Kravinoff. The boy's mother has died, so the father decides to take them to Africa to hunt a lion that is the ultimate predator, ultimately making his sons a little harder and to make himself a legend. And then things go horribly wrong, and Sergei is essentially mauled by that same lion. Ariana DeBose's Calypso is in Africa at the same time as a child and saves his life with a potion given to her by a grandmother, and it gives Sergei powers of the lion that mauled him. So how does that work exactly? Anyway, Sergei leaves home angry with his dad and goes on to become a hunter of men and a killer of animal poachers. Alexei Stevovich, who wanted to be partners with Kraven's dad, the drug dealer and mob boss, Nikolai, is immediately dismissed by Nikolai, so he decides to take over Kravinoff's territory by kidnapping Kravinoff's younger son and brother of Kraven. Then it becomes a race against time for Kraven to save his younger brother and stop the man who wants to destroy him and his family. The first 8 minutes of this movie, of course, I saw online like everyone else, and I didn't hate it. It seemed like a pretty decent action sequence, even though some of the CGI was pretty bad, but I understand why Sony released this scene to us. They were trying to get us to trust them again. They were essentially saying to us, remember, Madam Web? Look, we made a mistake. We promised this time will be better. Come on back. Give us another chance. Venom 3 wasn't that bad, was it? Look, Kraven kills a guy with a tooth. That's fun, right? Sony's obligation to release a Spider-Man-type movie every 5 years to keep their license to Spider-Man, I understand. You don't want to lose one of the most important superheroes of all time, but why waste so much money and time on such terrible writing and terrible CGI? Some of the worst audio dubbing that I've ever seen, and waste money on a character that no one cares about or wanted. This film wasted a cool $110 million on a story and character no one asked for. The CGI is absolutely comical. All of the animals look incredibly fake. And I don't mean Lion King fake. I mean like Green Lantern fake. Actually, I'd watch Green Lantern twice back to back before I'd watch Kraven again. Actually, give me another helping of Wolverine X-Men Origins. And when we finally see Rhino in his true form in this movie, he looks cartoony and fake. It's really laughable. They should have just put Rhino from the Spider-Man animated series in this movie to fight Kraven. It would have saved them a lot of money. Some of the action scenes were okay. I enjoyed 1 or 2 scenes, but for the most part, they were just comical. Kraven biting off the nose of one guy and spitting it out at another guy. Again, the first 8 minutes had me curious. It wasn't spectacular, but it was a solid start. But that's literally all they had. That scene got everyone to the theater, and then there is so much ridiculousness in this movie. Like Russell Crowe's accent.
We are predators.
I mean, this guy is an Oscar winner, and he sounds like Boris from Rocky and Bullwinkle.
But the worst I come up with is helping to make Moose and Squirrel show 1 hour longer.
Kraven speaks in a thick Russian accent when he's actually speaking Russian. but when he speaks English, he sounds like he's from Idaho or Oregon with no accent at all.
We're murderers. Isn't that what he taught us?
I mean, this guy is from the United Kingdom, and his character grows up in London. Why not just let him use the accent that he already has? Kraven's brother, who is a lounge singer who can mimic any voice, so when he sings a Tony Bennett song, you see him just mouthing along to a Tony Bennett song while trying to convince us that that's not what he's doing. I mean, he sings an Ozzy Osbourne song, and it clearly is just that exact Ozzy song. Calypso really has no point in this movie, but to say, hey, look, Calypso is in this movie. She's there to help Kraven find the people he's looking for. But at the same time, he is the best in the world at hunting people. But now he needs an attorney now to help him find people? And people who are actually hunting him, by the way? Just stay in one place, Kraven. They'll actually come to you. They also put a guy called the Foreigner in this movie for no reason at all. He's supposed to help track Kraven down, and he has this power where he counts to 3 and slows down time, I guess. Actually, I didn't understand what his power was. And his catchphrase after he kills someone is, "I'll be seeing you?" I mean, multiple times he says this. I mean, no, you won't see him. He's dead. You killed him. And that brings me to the writing of this movie. The writing is so basic and cliche that it hurts when you hear it.
We are predators.
Not since the movie The Room have I heard writing and dialogue that made my ears bleed.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
I mean, okay, that may be a little exaggerated, but yeah, it was bad. Written dialogue that we've heard a million times. Phrases like, if you don't find him, don't bother coming back. Kraven repeats over and over, I'm a hunter, I'm a hunter, I'm a hunter. And that he's changed his name from Sergei to Kraven in defiance to his father, whose last name is Kravinoff. There's not really a stretch there. This movie is 2 hours and 7 minutes, but it feels like it goes on and on. I started looking at my watch after the first 8 minutes, wondering when they were going to wrap this thing up. It bothered me that they referenced characters that they knew weren't going to be in any future Sony movies, and probably not any Spider-Man movies. The obvious one is obviously Spider-Man. Kraven has a dream of, or hallucination of, being plagued by spiders. And then 2 characters mention that they got their powers on a trip to New York from a guy named Miles Warren, who you don't even see. This guy, if you know the comics, is Jackal, who creates this persona after Gwen Stacy's death and blames Spider-Man for her death and goes after him. Again, there's absolutely no point in even mentioning this guy, especially since there's no Spider-Man. The Chameleon shows up in this movie, and it's obvious who he is, especially if you know the comics. This movie doesn't give any fan service to the fans at all. It's like it's for people who know nothing about Spider-Man or the Spideyverse. It has to be, right? I can't imagine anyone who is a huge Spider-Man fan enjoying this movie, let alone a Kraven fan. I mean, are there Kraven fans out there? It's not like he's the Punisher or Venom. I always thought he was kind of a lame villain. I liked him okay in the Spider-Man PS5 game, but again, Spider-Man was there. Anytime he was on the old animated series, I was kind of disappointed. Did Kraven ever even have his own comic? Kraven the Hunter is a huge but expected letdown from the Sonyverse, in the same vein as Madam Web and Morbius, and to a certain extent Venom, which I thought was okay to a certain degree, mainly because of Tom Hardy. Kraven has some of the worst CGI, the worst audio dubbing, and origin story that I couldn't care less about. And acting that is so bad that I didn't even think it's worth mentioning. If you have the money to see this movie, go bowling instead, or go find the movie The Man in the White Van in theaters this Friday. So what is your take on Kraven the Hunter? Was there any saving qualities that you found in this movie, or maybe you even loved it? Who knows? Again, movies are subjective and I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments of what you thought. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. It is always insanely appreciated. And remember, don't wait till it streams. Let's go to the movies and see it together.